Hi everyone, welcome along to our first preview ahead of 2019 for Surrey. Now we're here at the Fentimore Arms. My name is David Garrido. I'm joined by Mark Church, BBC commentator and Surrey's voice of cricket, I think it is fair to say. It's a lovely spot this, I don't know if you've been here before. Many of you will know it. It's pretty much a staple for many people on a Kia Oval match day. Now later on this year we're going to be talking about the upcoming campaigns, the Royal London One Day Cup, also the Vitality Blast and the Kia Super League. But for now, for today, we're going to concentrate on Surrey's title defence in Specsavers County Championship Division 1. So this is what's coming up on today's show. Club Captain Rory Burns talks through life as a county champion and England opener, as well as the challenges that come with being defending champions. They're a well-known double act in the Surrey changing room, but how much do Mark Stoneman and Scott Borthwick actually know about each other? And Rikki Clarke is enjoying something of an Indian summer in his career. We ask him about what it meant to lift the title for his club last year and how he stays at the top of his game. Okay, so plenty to come and to look forward to. Mark, am I right in saying the first time that you commentated for Surrey was in 2003? So admittedly, it's taken a while, but 2018 you finally saw this club lift a county championship title. Pretty much worth the wait though, I'm sure. What was different then about the class of 2018 compared to the teams that had gone before it?
I think what it was, they'd been together, the core group of players had been together for quite a long time. So I think you can't just look at 2018. I think you have to go back 2-3 years when Graham Ford was head coach and brought the youngsters in to play together, and then Michael De Venito came in. So I think you've got that core group that have played a lot of their cricket together, and then you added in Morne Morkel and Rikki Clarke, two brilliant additions, obviously, to that squad and that team. And I think they know how to play their cricket. I think what you saw last year was a Surrey side that understood the way to win cricket, because it is an art form winning a four-day game, and they knew how to do it, and they did it brilliantly. So I think it was a gradual build-up, and then I think they're at that platform now to kick on for a few more years.
Morne Morkel hit the winning runs, didn't he, to clinch the county championship title. Of course, he's got all that experience, but I think also significant about 2018 was that 4 Surrey men made their Test debuts, so sort of other end of their career. What does it take for a county like Surrey to not just produce international cricketers, but so many of them and consistently so? Yeah,
I think it happened in the 90s, didn't it, with Surrey? If you go back to that era, your Butchers, your Stewarts, Ian Ward obviously played, Alex Tudor, your Hollyoaks, you know, that was the time that England were taking people from Surrey and Surrey were producing England cricketers. Then there was a sort of break on that, and you're seeing that again now. And I think it comes basically down to a lot of hard work. I think your coaching staff has to be the right coaching staff. They have to understand what you need to do to be an international cricketer. And I think, again, it's that you've got your Sam Curran, who is just a natural, but you've got others there that know their games now. And seeing Ollie Pope and Sam get their Test match debuts was fantastic. But I'm thinking Rory Burns, Mark Stoneman, these guys as well, that they all know their games now.
We'll hear from Rory Burns in just a moment. But talking about hard work, I mean, Surrey have been hard at it over the winter, as usual, with their normal sort of programme in the gym, then in the marquee at the Kia Oval, then off to Dubai, where they were playing in the MCC Champion County game. This man's got a really good colour to his skin, even more than normal, because you were out there, weren't you?
It's dirt and sand, it's not sun.
I mean, listen, tough gig, but how did they look in that game?
Yeah, really good in the MCC game. I think there were two standouts, obviously. Ollie Pope's double 100, but then Jamie Smith coming in, and again, it's another one of these youngsters, 19 years old, 18 years old, first class game, and he batted like a lad that's played 100 first-class games. And it wasn't so much the shots he played, it was the manner he built his innings. And they put on 260 odd, I think, for the 5th wicket. And that was against an MCC attack that, you know, Stuart Broad was playing in that game, and Don Best was bowling. So there was international bowlers bowling at them. And it was taken very seriously. And I think you just looked at those two and thought, wow. You know, really, you know about Ollie Pope now, and it's worth remembering it's only his second full first-class season in cricket, which is unbelievable. And he's already played for England. But then when Jamie Smith walks out and bats the way he does, and then you're thinking ahead to, well, if your Burnses and these boys are being called up for England, who's coming in? The other one, of course, was Will Jacks. You know, and on that trip to Dubai, 25 ball 100. against Lancashire in a T10 game.
Yeah.
Now I know it was only a T10 game and it was on pre-season, but still, some of the shots he played were out of this world. So I think that Morné Morkel summed it up. He said when he made his first-class debut, he said he could almost not let go of the ball. He was so nervous. These lads these days just stroll out there and play, and I think Surrey have got a little crop of those youngsters that are very, very special. But yes, I think Surrey's pre-season's gone very well. I think it's very different to how it used to be, Mr. Garrido. You know, it used to be turn up 2 weeks in March in the indoor school and then off you go. You know, these boys are on 12-month contracts now, so they've been back in since October in the gym and just doing all their strength and conditioning, and then slowly getting back into hitting balls and bowling balls.
But I mean, we saw the fruits of that particular labour last season, Surrey winning the county championship, and no doubt the man who really led that title charge was the club captain, Rory Burns. He scored more runs than anyone else in the county championship last season. We caught up with Rory on that pre-season tour of Dubai to look ahead to the new season.
Rory, thank you for joining us. It's 6 months since you lifted the trophy at the Kia Oval. What's life been like as a county champion?
Well, it's been pretty busy from a personal standpoint, but you know, obviously reflecting on that season, it's nice to probably have a little bit of time away from it and actually enjoy what we've achieved. But I think the way the group's gone, how we've gone about that sort of winter block, and some of the training I've seen from afar, and then now coming back into it and seeing the training and that sort of stuff, I think we're pushing on and we've been excellent. So yeah, it's pretty good.
It certainly has been busy, personally for you. I know Surrey fans have been keen for you to make your England debut for quite a while, and were delighted when you got that chance. What's that experience, those 2 tours?
Yeah, I mean, obviously getting your cap for the first time, it's it's just pretty cool, really. In all honesty, you know, to get that on your head, and then to have, you know, obviously that first tour went really well. From a playing side of things, we won 3-0, and that was an awesome experience. And yeah, the West Indies maybe didn't go as well results-wise as we would have hoped, but from a personal standpoint, I felt like I've sort of grown a little bit as a player, and I felt quite comfortable in that environment. So, you know, moving forward, although I didn't quite get the results I probably personally wanted there, you know, hopefully I can get back out there and do that.
So that those 2 tours came at the end of a pretty incredible first 12 months as Surrey captain here. Do you think that experience of last year helped make you an even better captain?
Yeah, I think for everyone now, it's probably, you know, after the season you have to take stock of where you're at, and you know, we obviously did really well in 4-day cricket and won a county championship there, but we also probably didn't do quite as well in the other 2 white ball tournaments. So I suppose it's taking stock of where you're at, how do you need to improve, where do you need to get better, and then that whole winter block and everything that is geared to it, and now pre-season, how do you keep getting better, how do you keep pushing on, and then come the start of the season try and do it all again.
You've spoken of how difficult it is being the champions, and once you've reached the top, managing to stay there. Obviously that's a big challenge this year. You will be the team to beat in the county championship. How do you plan to escape that?
I mean, we start as the team to beat, obviously being the champions, but I think as you've seen, as you know, championships have gone over the last few years, generally it's the side that gets out in front and drives their cricket and gets on a bit of a roll are the ones that are thereabouts at the end of the season lifting the trophy. So I think it's sort of that appreciation of, yes, we are the team to beat, but at the same time, just because you're champions, you haven't made it, and that development and improvement that needs to keep happening. And you know, we won a championship after 14 hard games of cricket, and we played cricket in the right way and how we wanted to play it. I suppose it's now driving that on and doing the same thing again and trying to improve more and more.
It's going to be a pretty intense championship season this year. 10 matches on from the start of August, 3 a month between May and July. So what is the secret to making sure everybody's as fresh as possible?
I'm not sure I'm the man to ask about that. You probably want to ask Daz Vaness and Alex Tyso and Stilo. They're probably the ones that keep the boys in the park and keep them going. But you know, we're obviously very fortunate to have, you know, a good sized squad, and a squad where a lot of players are challenging for a lot of positions. So not only is that healthy from that standpoint, but it's probably healthy from a rotation point of view. And the fact that we can keep trying to get our strongest sides in the park, probably in that middle phase. I think there's 9 back-to-backers there after a strong white ball period. So that'll probably be the secret. But Daz, Fizz and Steeler are probably your men.
And then we've obviously improved on the squad from last season. Liam Plunkett and Rikki Clarke coming into the group. Have you spoke to them already? And do they know what it's going to be like coming into the Surrey changing room? Yeah,
definitely. They've popped in and around, and they've been around it a little bit. Obviously, George is here, which is great, and Pudsy's been off doing his stuff with England, which is also great to see. But yeah, we'll all sit down and have a catch up at some point, and obviously we have our own values and behaviours that we like seeing as a squad, and any one of the guys could tell them what that is, because we're all pretty adept at knowing what that means. So yeah, I think they're pretty excited to get going, and obviously we're very happy to have them, and it's a great place to be at.
So we sit here now with 6 months of intense cricket to come. What would it take from the end of the season for you to look back and say 2019 was an even better season than 2018?
I mean, it's always hard, isn't it, when you've won something, and the only way you're realistically going to match up outcome-wise is to go and win it again, and then to win the other comps. But if you strip that back, what we want to do, we want to win every game of cricket, and we want to win three titles. There's 3 competitions up for grabs, and however many games of cricket to play, that will always be our goal as a group. And it's the process behind those things that are probably the main things that you want to see. You want to see guys going about their business day in, day out in the right way. And at the end of the day, if you've done that, the outcomes more than likely take care of themselves. So again, it's an appreciation of where we're at. We are champions, but we've now got an opportunity where we can drive it forward as a group and be even better.
All right, well, let's talk about Rory Burns. How impressive a leader is he? What qualities has he got, Mark?
Well, I think people know my thoughts on Rory Burns. I've always been a huge Rory Burns fan, because of the way he goes about his cricket. I remember the first time he opened for Surrey against Lancashire at Guildford, and Glenn Chappell, his first delivery, bowled him a pearler, knocked his off stump out the ground. And Rory took his helmet off and walked off and just was laughing to himself. And it was then you thought, well, hang on, this lad's got the right attitude. And I think in his own way, he's the perfect captain for this Surrey group, in the fact he's never going to stand up and make a Churchillian speech. That's not the way Rory Burns goes about things. He leads from the front, and I think that was key to last year. When Kumar Sangakkara obviously left the club, there was a lot of talk about who's going to score the runs that Kumar Sangakkara scored. And Rory scored a vast majority of those runs with everybody else helping out. And I think because it was him doing that, for his confidence as a leader, because he was scoring his runs, then everything else just fell into place. And the other thing for it, he'd be the first to admit, with the new ball attack he had at his disposal, you can't ask for, four bowlers, quick bowlers and Amar Verdi, and whichever 4 those quicks were all doing a job for him. But I think what he's done is come in and he's put his mark down on how he wants the dressing room to run. Not so much how he wants the cricket to be played, but how he wants that dressing room to run. And I think because of that, they've taken that onto the field. So, yeah, I was delighted for him, because number one, he's a lovely bloke. Number 2, it's just the fact that now he's played for England, he's leading Surrey, and I think he is one of those that they give him the captaincy and his game's gone up another level.
Let's just talk a little bit about how the county game and the international game affect each other in terms of schedules, because the first 10 of the 14 County Championship Division 1 games take place before that first Ashes test.
Yeah.
Now, how important could those games be, particularly for the likes, not just of Rory Burns, but also Ben Folkes, Sam Curran, in them staking a claim for a place in that first test squad at Edgbaston to face the Aussies?
I think it's huge, in the fact that, let's be honest, that England top order is still not settled. Nobody's really nailed down that top order place now. So if you go into those games and you score a heap of runs, then you're going to get looked at. I think obviously Rory Burns, the man in possession to open, but they still haven't settled on another opener. Jason Roy is a name that's being touted around. Now, everybody at Surrey knows that if Jason went in to play red ball cricket for England, he'd be fine. Even if they wanted to open up with him, he opens in one-day international cricket. It's not like he doesn't like the limelight. It's not like he hasn't played in front of a big crowd, and it's not like he hasn't played under pressure. And at the end of the day, it's still a red ball. It's round. It'll come at him in the same place as 2 white balls, so he'll be absolutely fine. The other name I'd throw in there is Mark Stoneman, in the fact that I know he wants to get his England place back, and he looked back to his best at the end of last season. So if he got off to a flyer as well, then in those games, if he can score weight of runs. And the Ben Folkes one's a really interesting one, in that I think he should be keeping wicket for England because he's the best wicket keeper, but I see you want to be playing Johnny Bairstow. I don't see why Johnny Bairstow's allowed to pick and choose where he wants to play in that order, but that is the way it goes. You could look at Folkes as just a batsman. Okay. Now, with 10 games and the way he bats, there was talk of it that could have happened in that last test against the West Indies, that he could have bumped up to 3 and batted at 3. He's a good enough batsman to do that, but with 10 games leading into the Ashes, you've then got that chance to really state your case. So not just for the Surrey players, I think for any player, if you have a good block of 10 games going into an Ashes series, then I think you've got a very good chance of being picked.
Well, you mentioned Mark Stoneman there. He is one of the double act, the northern duo, along with the Scott Borthwick. Of course, Rory Burns used to having them alongside him at the top of the order. Now, these two, remember, they've spent large parts of their career alongside one another. So how well do they know each other? Take a look.
Hi, my name is Scott Borthwick. First met Mark.
What were you, 12?
About 12. Durham under 13, 15 nets, I think it was. Used to be a little medium pace bowler. Used to come in, run bun at us.
And he's been in Niners ever since. Made the move south and he followed. So, can't get away from it.
I think he followed me.
My line for.
Absolute bottle job.
Oh man. I don't want to, that still gives me sleepless nights now.
Ready? Nice, partner. He was a bit later. I'm going to say yeah, boy. Oh no, I've lost my wiper.
No borrow?
No.
What's the golden rule of quizzes? Like, always back your first answer? Alright. Ah, man. Oh, I'm going to change the 80.
Middlesex.
Never in doubt.
There's no chance the Mags are in the league.
At least we're in it. Long-winded answer.
Ready?
Yeah.
The price of things. Fair enough.
Not much really worries you though, you just going along with it.
Yeah. Too busy? Similar?
Firks and Dirks every day of the week, like.
100%.
Away.
Well,
It's obviously fish and chips, but it would actually be your Nana's Sunday lunch.
he knows me well. The answer to the question is fish and chips, yes. But Nana Borthwick's Sunday lunch is up there. lunch.
Very easy, this one. Quite simply, it is.
Well done, son. Well done. We know each other well.
We're talking about Stoneman and Borthwick. Those two have been such a crucial part of Surrey's ongoing revival since they arrived in 2017, haven't they, Mark?
I think as much in the dressing room as anything. You know, you come to London, you come to Surrey, playing at the Kia Oval, you're in the bright lights, and you get two proper northeastern lads in there as well, with the way they go about things and their senses of humour, and they're very down-to-earth lads. You know, that's the other thing. I do worry about Borthwick. I think he's becoming a bit too much London. You know, I saw him arriving at the ground on a scooter once.
Oh no, is he losing his northern soul?
I think so.
I think
so. But
come on, Scott.
Yeah, no.
Stay true to your roots, man.
I think Stoneman will always stay true to his roots. But they're two hugely talented cricketers as well. And I think, as I say, Mark Stoneman looked back to his best at the end of last season. And he's a guy I'd like to see score a whole heap of runs this summer, because he's a lovely player to watch as well. And Scott Borthwick, I felt for him last season, he almost sort of ignited to have one of the great seasons, just didn't quite do that, and then obviously broke his wrist and missed the back end of the season. So I think, again, for him, it's a big summer coming up. But I think just their characters in that dressing room, I think, are perfect. To have that, as I say, down-to-earth, northeastern grit, determination. You know, there's no sides to either of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part of the dressing room.
What about the sort of composition of the Surrey squad overall? Because, well, youth is an important element of that, to have those young, talented cricketers taking that Surrey pathway. Just a quick word about Gareth Townsend and the good work that he and his colleagues are doing at the academy. They've
been doing it for years. You see, it's not just that's been the lovely thing for Gareth and the academy, is that because of Ollie Pope and Sam Curran, they've had a lot of publicity. You know, last summer Gareth was almost at the point of saying that he discovered Virat Kohli. You know, it was getting to that point. Every time I turned the telly on, there was Gareth doing an interview on Sky. But you know, if you think of the likes, Jason Roy's come through that academy system, Matthew Spriegel came through that academy system, going way back. You know, they've always been producing the cricketers. The thing now is, those cricketers are going on to what we discussed earlier, going on to play for England, which obviously puts you in the limelight. And I think the other thing that Gareth does so well and the academy do so well is they sort of teach them how to be good people and good cricketers. So I think that once they come out the academy and come into the first team, they're aware of what it takes, not just runs, not just wickets, but to be a good person in the dressing room. And also, if you look at that dressing room now, you know, Jason Roy's been through that academy system, Jade Dernbach's been through that academy system, Matthew Dunn's been through the academy system, so they know what it's like. So for Jamie Smith to come in, you've got those guys there who know probably how he's feeling coming out the back end of academy and coming into the first team. But yeah, outstanding. What Gareth Townsend and the academy have done over the last few years is outstanding, and I was very, very pleased to see Gareth and the academy get the publicity last year. If I'm sure it goes well again this year. The only thing I don't want to see is as much of Gareth on the TV as I saw last year.
New arrivals as well from other counties. Liam Plunkett from Yorkshire, Jordan Clarke from Lancashire as well. What ingredients do they add?
I think they're brilliant signings, and I think they're really shrewd signings as well. So we saw Jordan Clarke get 100 against Surrey a couple of years ago for Lancashire, and we all sat there and went, wow. He just came in at number 7, took the game to Surrey. Bowls good pace as well, and I think he'll have a huge part to play in, especially the one-day stuff. I think he'll have a massive part to play in the one-day stuff. Plunkett, you have got a guy who already has played international cricket, is still, for me, world-class. You know, that is a guy that, for me, could probably still play Test match cricket for England, in that he has that factor that you get on a flat pitch, nothing's happening, plunk it the ball and say, give me 5 overs and take the batsman's head off. And that's what you need. And I think they are great additions in that for Jordan Clarke, you know, he's still learning his game, but he's going to be in an environment with a team that know how they want to play, and it suits the way he plays. And then Plunkett, you know, you get the World Cup out of the way, let him do all this stuff in the World Cup and hopefully win the World Cup, then come back to Surrey and start bowling with the red ball. Absolutely fantastic.
He says he wants to be the cricketing Ronaldo.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, in terms of, you know, his fitness,
absolutely.
How seriously he's taking it, thinking that in order to keep that snap, he needs to
looks,
get lighter. He's thinking about his physiology as well.
Yeah, he looks in absolute peak physical form. Seeing him at the press day, and you know, the guy looks fantastic. So, and I think as well, Surrey have got to accept the fact that they've got that. How they're going to keep everybody happy is very interesting, and the fact that they've got such a good crop of bowlers now. But the other thing is, of course, your Tom Currans, your Sam Currans, they'll be going off playing their international cricket. So to have a guy like Liam, you're not pulling out someone who, you know, is playing their first class game. You're pulling out a bloke who's been playing for years and knows exactly what he's up to. So I think looking to the future as well, I hate to say this, but Rikki Clarke can't go on forever. You know, he is, you know, Benjamin Button, we all think that he gets better as he gets. He might be playing IPL when he's 90, I don't know. But if that doesn't happen, then you look at Jordan Clarke and think, 2 years, Jordan Clarke straight into where Rikki Clarke's doing his stuff now.
Let's talk a little bit more about Rikki Clarke, because, well, he came through the Surrey system, I mean, at the turn of the century. It's funny saying that.
I know.
But he then left Surrey 2007, returned to the county in 2017, and he's been a star really across all formats of the game. And we also caught up with Rikki. He told us about how he's grown to really get to know his game inside out.
Rikki, thank you for joining us. So you scored 500 runs, 49 wickets last year's County Championship, nominated for PCA Player of the Year. What was it like to have a season like that at this stage of your career?
Very pleasing. For probably a few years now, I felt that I've known my game a little bit better. I'm always trying to improve, even at my age. And to have that sort of season and then have us win the championship at the end of it was very pleasing, and hopefully that can continue into this season.
You've made no secret of just how proud you are to wear the three feathers. What is it about the club that means so much to you?
Well, it's ingrained in me, really. It's part of me. I started from under-9s all the way up to under-19s. Signed my first professional contract with the club. I've loved the club. Even when I moved away, I loved the club. Was always checking on the results. It was a difficult thing to do for me to move away, but to be back now is so pleasing, and hopefully, you know, that my career finishes at this club, and it'd be quite fitting with a few more trophies to put into that mould, and I can't speak highly enough about the place, really.
And talk about winning more trophies there. You play in all three formats. How do you keep yourself fit enough to be able to play pretty much every day throughout the summer?
Well, yeah, just I suppose the case that with my bowling particularly, I've got an action that sort of repeats itself quite well. It's not really that taxing on the body. Maybe need to shorten my run up a little bit just to help the legs out a bit, but yeah, I think it's an action that sort of helps me continue playing as much as I can, really. Most of my injuries the last few years have been impact injuries, like little broken fingers and stuff, which you're going to get in cricket. So it's important that I look after myself in the gym. I've got a routine that suits me, and I pretty much just stick to what I know. So it's just a case of keep doing that and play as long as I can, really.
And the County Championship is where Surrey had the most success last year. Why do you think that was the case?
I just think we've got an incredible squad of players in all formats. You know, it didn't quite work out for us in T20 and 50 overs. But I think that, you know, you look at our batting line-up, we bat deep. We're ruthless with the ball. We catch our catches. We've got a lot of energy in the field. And it's shown this winter with the guys that we've had representing England, you know, they've gone up, and that's because of the performances they've put in. It's been long overdue for those sort of guys as well. We've got a great mixture of youth and experience, and I just think we know what we're doing when we go onto that field in the red ball game. And I think, you know, the white ball game is something that we can really look at, because we should be doing better in that, and hopefully we can.
And talk about the strength and depth of the squad. We've added to that this year as well. Jordan Clarke and Liam Plunkett, two ruthless bowlers, and can also contribute in that lower order. How important is it to have such a strong squad across all three formats?
Well, massively, because it gives you an opportunity to rotate a little bit as well. And the two guys that we've got coming in are brilliant in white ball cricket, particularly. Both bowl with a lot of pace, can hit the ball out the ground. athletic, strong, and guys that you want to be looking towards in the one-day game particularly. And also it strengthens our four-day side as well. So we've got a lot of options, and there's nothing better than competition for places. That's only healthy because, you know, we've got a group of guys that just want the best for Surrey County Cricket Club and to win trophies. So, you know, whatever 11 gets picked in any format, it's definitely back with everyone, and it's good for the team and the environment.
We're in Dubai at the moment for pre-season stuff.
Yeah, shocking. Yeah, can't believe they brought us here.
You tweeted just before we came out that this was your 20th pre-season, so that is a lot of experience. How do you get that across to the younger lads within the squad?
Well, it's quite difficult. Yeah, so 20th pre-season. I think it's just a case of, particularly when you've got a pre-season tour, it's all about enjoying it. You get to know, for me, definitely being older, you get to know the younger guys, what they're like as characters, what makes them tick. They get to know the older guys better as well, and it's a good mix. You know, because when you're away from home, it's difficult for anyone. I just think it's an opportunity for everyone to get to know each other. Warm weather training is always good because you can get outside. Your fitness is always important, and it's easier in these sort of conditions. So it's quite a decent thing. Sorry, Ben Folks just trying to be funny. Do you want to come in? Do you want to come in, Ben? No, he doesn't. He's camera shy. No, but you get camaraderie like that. So he just rocked up this morning and he's already acting the Joker. So you get to know people, and I think it's important that the warm weather training can really put you in a good position when the season starts back in England.
And finally, this is glorious. 6 months of cricket ahead throughout the summer. You must want to keep playing for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, well, definitely. For me, it's performances, staying fit, strong, and hopefully, you know, can put in the performances to keep playing as long as I can. As I said, I love this club. I love playing cricket. And I love winning trophies, so hopefully we can win some more trophies this year and continue our successes through last year into this season as well.
So Surrey begin their title defence against Essex, and then we've got 3 matches per month, May, June and July. Mark, are there any sort of periods of the season in the County Championship that you think we should look out for that are really key?
I think that June-July period, absolutely, just because of the way the schedule is. So you play, Surrey will play that opening championship game, then it's all one-day stuff, and then you go back into the championship. If you can put in a block of wins June-July, then as you sort of go into the back end of the season, it's what they did last year. I remember going on the road with them last year and thinking, right, they've got to go to Guildford, they're going to go to Scarborough, they're going to come back to the Kirov. I think they have 4 games on the bounce. If they can get 3 wins and a draw out of these 4 games, and they've set themselves up. They actually went and won all 4 in the blink of an eye, and that just basically set them up. So I think that where you've got, as you said, you've got all those games up to the Ashes. You know, if you have a bad run there, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you have a good run there, then you go into sort of September time, and you'll be right at the top of the pile. So I think in many ways it's going to be that whole thing of, and it sounds boring and it sounds dull, but it's that consistency and the weather. And I hate to bring the weather into it, and hopefully the sun's going to shine and we get a summer like we did last year, because that was the great thing. The weather last year meant you could play all those games, get into a rhythm, and it'll be the same building up to, as you say, 10 games up to the Ashes.
The other factor here is that Surrey, of course, are defending champions. They always say, don't they, that it's harder to retain a title than it is to win it in the first place. But how tough will that be? I mean, Surrey have got their target on their back, so they're there to be shot at.
Yeah, it was something that they've been talking about, being the hunted. That's the way they're looking at it. But actually, it was something that Michael De Venito said, and I hadn't really thought about it. And it was a really good point. He said, let's be honest, every time that Surrey go out and play a game of cricket, people want to beat them. It's Surrey. And even though I'm not sure they're that happy about it, but even though I think people like Surrey but would never dare say that, obviously, after the way they played their cricket and the characters they've got in that. And I think that's the other thing with the England stuff. You know, if you've got your county players playing for England, you open them up to a much wider audience. And if you can do what Sam Curran does in an England shirt, or Tom Curran, then the whole of the country loves you. But look, every time Surrey go out to play, whoever they're playing against wants to beat Surrey. So I don't think it will be too much of a burden. I think they'll keep it simple. I think they'll say, we did it last year, we did it playing this way, let's just do exactly the same thing. You know, it's exactly the same group of players, plus Jordan Clarke and Liam Plunkett. There's no changes there. So I think they'll just go out, play the same way again, and I think they'll leave the pressure to the other team, saying that how much they want to beat Surrey.
Okay, so if there's one thing, one element, one trait maybe that Surrey need to have or need to get right to ensure a successful defence of their Specsavers County Championship Division 1 title, what's that going to be?
Keep everybody on the park. It's always the same thing, isn't it? I think Surrey last year, just through the fact they've got a brilliant backroom staff, you know, Darren Vaness, the strength and conditioning coach, Alex Tyso, the physio. If you can keep your players on the park, then you've got a really good chance of competing in all competitions. And they did that really well last year. And I think they've got that strength in depth as well that we talked about. But we could get complicated about this, but it's pretty straightforward. You know, if you bat first, go out and get over 400. Give yourself a chance of bowling the opposition out twice. If you bowl first, try and knock them over as quick as you can. Score loads of runs in the first innings and then knock them over again. Yeah, it's not rocket science, this. And that's what Surrey did so well last season, is they didn't overcomplicate things. And when someone needed to step up to the plate at certain times, someone always put their hand up. So I think they'll sit down and say, we'll just go about it exactly the same way as we did last year.
Fantastic. As always, great to get your insights, Mark. Really appreciate it. Sadly, that's all we've got time for on this particular preview. Don't forget that Surrey start their Specsavers County Championship Division 1 campaign against Essex. Thursday, the 11th of April is the date for your diaries here at the Kia Oval if you can make it. If not, then don't worry, because you can see every single ball of every home match live at kiaoval.com. I will be back to preview the Royal London One Day Cup, also the Vitality Blast and the Kia Super League campaigns. But for now, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.